evening, viewers, and thank you so much for joining us this Thursday right here on your #1 agricultural program, Kenya's Gold. My name is Violetta Ngina. Now, we are coming through to you from the United States of America, and the reason as to why we have been here is to learn so much about the agricultural scope in this country. Remember, this is a very, very big country with a population of about 340 million people. So it has been of great interest for us to learn how they produce food to feed the population of this country. Now, where we are, this is Idaho State, and this state is the leading producer of potatoes in the United States of America. So in short, tunaweza sema hii ndo Nyandarua yao, the same way we normally say cash crop ya Nyandarua ni potatoes. So this state here is the leading producer of that, but they are also very big on dairy farming in Kenya, and that is coming very closely to our agenda of the day. Now, every single Thursday on the program, we do focus on coffee farming in Kenya, na tunajua watu wengi wanapenda kukunywa white coffee. Kwa hivyo lazima tukue na maziwa, and a lot of milk comes from this state. Now, moving on to coffee farming, we all know coffee is a booming agribusiness in Kenya, and a lot of farmers who had abandoned their coffee farms are going back to it, and we also have newcomers in the space. So today on the program, we are dedicating it to educating you how to start up your coffee farm, what type of soil is required, where do you get your seedlings, how do you prepare your holes. That and more will be answered in our gold feature starting right now. Kenya's Gold is out, as is the norm, and today we do want to continue learning so much about kahawa. As you have seen from the different features that we have been bringing you right here on the program, watu wengi sana wanakimbililia kahawa because of the good prices that are being experienced in that sector. So for the first timers, wale ambao wanaanza afresh, we do want to make sure that you start the process correctly. So today, right here in Kiambu County, with an expert and agronomist, we will be starting the process all the way from scratch. Remember, with coffee being a perennial crop, ukipata vibaya at the very beginning, if you don't start it correct, then utakuwa na shida mingi sana pale mbele. So let's make sure that you are equipped on how to start coffee farming in the best way. Hi, Mr. Jim. Go well?
I'm well.
Good to see you today. Nono ko busy. What are you trying to do at this point?
Okay. What I'm trying to do is to make a peg. And because I got to drive it on the ground, it needs to be pointed at the end.
Right.
So that it becomes easy to drive. So I need to have several pegs when I want to lay out coffee.
Right.
Yeah, you need pegs so that the peg can show you exactly where the coffee is going, she's going to be. Yeah.
So before we even get to that, tunataka kujifundisha process ya kwanza to grow coffee. You know, at this point, very many people are getting into coffee. How do you feel about that? Wewe kama mtu ambaye amekuwa katika coffee sector for very many years.
I feel encouraged. I know volumes will go up. Everybody is encouraged. And also, when we have volumes, in terms of market, we are in marketing business. Such that we may have lots of coffee, and every farmer is going to do something in coffee, then you have a lot of it coming in.
Right.
So we are able to trade, have enough to export, and make income.
Right.
Yes.
What has been our volumes over the last recent years? Ukiangalia mwaka wa 2024, the most recent, and here where we are sahizi, tumekuwa tukiproduce coffee ya kilo ngapi as a country?
As a country, in terms of metric tons, in East Africa we are the lowest, 40,000. 40,000 metric tons.
Right.
We compare with Uganda, which they made about 400,000. Then our giants in North Ethiopia, we did around 700,000 metric tons. So for Kenya, yes, our coffee is very very sweet. In fact, it is bought so that it can add flavors and blend with others because of its superior quality.
Right.
But the volumes are very, very low.
Right.
Most farmers were discouraged. They feel, no, this is not a value chain we want to spend a lot and make a lot of money in. And then they have just gone to other lucrative ones like horticulture. We have like trees like avocado now.
Yes.
It's also gold green.
Yes.
So people and most farmers thought, no, with this coffee, it's not something I can invest in.
Okay.
Again, the prices have been very, very low payout. But as you can see, in the recent years, now we have more coming in for a farmer. So I think that payment is an encouragement to farmers.
Right.
That's why most of them now want to go back to coffee.
Coffee.
Yes.
So those volumes will definitely increase.
Definitely increase.
Right.
When we have the area under coffee being more, definitely we are going to have volumes coming in. Yeah.
So the variety that we are growing here, we have Arabica.
Arabica.
Right?
Yes.
So tell me, does Uganda grow Arabica or Robusta? What does Ethiopia grow? Alafu kwa ule mtu mwenye anataka kujua tofauti ya Arabica and Robusta, please also shed more light on that. Yeah.
So in Kenya we grow Arabica, and the varieties we grow are Batian. We have SL. SL means Scottish Lab.
Yes.
It was developed in Scotland. We have SL28 and 34.
Right.
Those are traditional.
Right.
Then we have K7, and we also a little bit have of we have Pro 11.
Right.
All these are Arabica. In Uganda, they grow Robusta.
What's the difference between Arabica and Robusta?
And Robusta is the growth morphology. If you look at the coffee that we have right here, the way it grows, it cannot, for Robusta, it can grow as tall as this avocado tree.
Right.
Then it doesn't have many enemies, as we say, no many pests. It's not affected by coffee leaf rust or coffee berry disease. And when you look at its growth, it is single stem, and it has huge gap of the stem.
Right.
But you have a huge tree. Very huge tree. They are huge trees.
Right.
Yeah, but in Kenya, where we grow the Arabica, as you can see, don't have much trees. And then with canopy management, the tree will not grow very tall.
So with all those advantages of a Robusta, is it possible that we can grow Robusta here in Kenya ama sisi ni wa Arabica too?
We have started.
Oh, we
are
have.
starting in Bungoma. We also have in Busia. Yes, and because of low costs of production, that's why you think, I think people would want to go to Robusta.
Right.
However, Robusta, it is slightly acidic.
Iko na kaukali?
Its taste is not that very good. Because you see, coffee is something that you take. So what it means, you feel you have the taste buds and you feel the taste is not as appealing
as Arabica. Right.
But in terms of production, agronomy, to grow Robusta is very easy.
Economical also.
Yeah.
Right. Sasa sisi tunataka kujifundisha from scratch.
Okay.
Tunataka kuanza kupanda kahawa. And I think this is something that you've mentioned before. If you don't get it right at the very beginning, uko mbele, kutakuwa na shida. Alright, hata nikiita agronomist wa kutoka country gani,
yes,
it won't work.
Yeah.
So how do we get it right? Here we have a piece of land as it is. Kuna mkulima mahali ameenda amenunua shamba inakaa hivi, ama mtu ana list shamba inakaa as this one looks like. So when we are starting, tunaanzia wapi?
Okay. So when we're starting, you have to make sure there's no vegetation. Clear vegetation. Because like, okay, here we just need to remove a little bit of this. But the good thing with our shamba, don't have trees, don't have grasses. So for this one, you can just go ahead and start your pegging and laying out.
So can we start after we've cleared these weeds?
And clear the weeds,
right.
But we can as well have our pegs because we encourage something called minimum tillage. We don't want to disturb the soil.
So ikiwa na weeds bado?
Yeah, we can plant ikiwa na weeds.
Okay.
And control later. Because you don't need, you see, coffee, it's not like other crops whereby you need to continue tilling and make sure there are no weeds. But for coffee, when you lay out the holes and pegging where you're going to have your coffee stand, these weeds can be removed.
Okay.
As you go on. But what you have to make sure, where you do the hole, there's no weeds there.
So mali kuna shimo hapo ndo kusikwe na weeds, but every other place you can control later.
In fact, it's advisable, don't leave your coffee field as bare as there. If you have to have some little bit of weeds, not much, along the avenue. Avenues need the space between 2 rows.
All right.
Yeah.
Watch it with
wacha
kidogo.
with kidogo. Don't leave it bare like this. Yeah.
Na umesema pia we are not encouraged kusumbua mchanga yako sana. So minimal tillage. There's a farmer who is listening to us right now na anataka kuelewa vizuri minimal tillage, deep tillage. What are those practices that enhance minimal tillage? Na ni nini ambao unaweza kukifanya which is now part of deep tillage?
Yes. So you know most of the tillage, it's like you're turning the soil. The subsoil comes on top and then the topsoil goes down. You see, when you do that, all the nutrients go beyond where the roots can reach it. Then as you continue digging, you are disturbing the roots and you're also going to cause some damage. So any opportunistic diseases are going just to harbor themselves there. So when you talk about minimum tillage, it's where you use herbicides to control weeds or slashing or mulching. We call it conservation agriculture.
Herbicides?
You can use herbicides, you do slashing, that is mechanical,
And then?
or you place mulch, because the work of mulch is to smother. The weeds will not flourish when you have already covered them with mulch.
Will someone now say herbicides? Are we not adding excess chemicals to the ground, which is already one of the biggest issues that we are facing in the agricultural sector?
Yeah. So herbicides are not a problem. What is a problem is spraying the crop or the berries with agrochemicals, like fungicides and the rest. But as long as you are controlling weeds, there are those herbicides that can be used very well, and they are not banned in the list of banned chemicals.
Right.
Remember, the weeds are just controlled occasionally or when they come up.
Right.
So if you have good agronomy, you're not supposed to have a lot of weeds.
Weeds, okay. Yeah. So sasa nimeanza kuleta matrakta huko nimeingia deep tillage.
Nimeingia deep tillage, you're using a harrow, you're using a plow. So that is something that is as deep as 1 foot down the ground.
Right.
So hapo umeanza kuharibu. You have just disturbed the soil structure and just distorted it. So whatever you are to plant there now, especially coffee, will not do well.
Right. Yeah. So kama mkulima anasikiza saizi na anaanza akaya akijua coffee requires minimal tillage. Good.
Even when it's growing.
Right.
Just weed around the coffee where we have the feeder roots. Then the rest of the area can just have weeds that are just manageable.
Good.
But don't leave your soil bare.
Okay.
In a coffee farm.
Fine. So now let's start. Process 1. Tunaanzia wapi and what do we need for that process?
Okay. Process 1. Like this peg.
Hii mti ndo tunaita peg.
Ndio tunaita peg.
Kuna mtu anangoja kwana labda ile peg ya nguo hapo. Anashinda ni peg ndio.
So this peg, you need to have as many as you can, so that where you drive it, let's say for instance if you drive it here, that's why we need it being sharp. This shows where you may want your coffee to be.
One bush ikwe hapa.
One bush ikwe hapa.
Right.
And this is where you are going to dig, because when you dig, you remove the peg, you dig, and then you dig a hole that is 2 feet, 2 feet, and 2 feet, a cubic hole.
So, 2?
2. You see, when it is the middle, I have a 2 feet stick here.
So you need already shapima, it's 2 feet.
Yeah. If you don't have a tape measure, you can use your hands if they are big as mine. This hand span, 4 of them, because 2 of them is 1 foot.
1 foot.
Yes, or 30 centimeters.
Okay.
So the peg has to remain in the center or in the middle. So you'll have your 4 corners, which will be 2.
2.
The other 2.
2.
Yeah,
and then another 2 here. And then
this way.
And then another 2.
Yeah. So the peg is right
in the middle.
So this is where you start your digging.
Okay.
Yeah. So you temporarily remove it.
Okay.
And then you start digging.
And before hata tuanze kuchimba, please tell me, mchanga ambayo ina favor coffee, vizuri, what kind of soil does coffee require?
Okay. As you can see, the soil has to be drained, well-drained.
Well-drained soil.
Friable. Friable means that it can easily grind in your hands. And even when it rains, we don't want soil that is going to hold water or with very high water holding capacity, because it's going to bring waterlogging issues.
Right.
And you see, this is not rice, it is coffee. So what it means, the soil has to be workable. Workable, okay? No mini clods, just fine, so that now the roots can be able to. Remember, coffee needs to have enough roots volumes.
Right.
So that it can be able to get that good anchorage and be able to get minerals as deep as 2 feet.
Good.
Yes.
So well-drained soil.
Well-drained soil.
Tuongelele long, well-drained soil. Tuongelele the nutrients that need to be there in the soil. Kama mimi nimekuja nifanye soil testing, what should we make sure iko kwa hiyo mchanga yangu that will favor the growth of coffee? Ndio kama haiko, I start treating my soil.
We have the big three. Nitrogen, phosphorus, and exchangeable potassium. The soil organic matter must also be good. Must part of it. Soil pH must be within the range of between 5.5 to 6.
5.5 to 6. That's slightly acidic.
Slightly acidic.
Okay.
Yeah, because coffee does not do well in highly acidic soils.
Right.
Also, one thing you have to look is soil moisture or soil water. And how much is it? It has to be like half of the soil is almost dry. Those are the things that you look for. Yeah, you look for at the establishment.
Good.
So you need to have your soils tested.
Right.
And get the analysis. Because if they are acidic, you may need to use to just raise the soil pH and bring down the acidity.
I like the fact that unasema agricultural lime. Kwa sababu kuna lime nyingine.
Yes, we have lime.
Please differentiate.
So you have 3 types of lime. The two, you may not be able to distinguish them because they look white. There is that lime that we use for building purposes. And inatumika sana when you are giving directions. There is also another set of lime, also white, agricultural lime, very rich in magnesium. So we call it dolomitic lime. It looks white. There's another one that looks gray with a high level of calcium. Now that one we call it calcitic lime. So there are 3.
Right.
So when I talk of agricultural lime, it's the dolomitic.
Dolomitic lime. Na wananunua hiyo kwa Agrovet.
Kwa Agrovet, yeah. Right. A bag for half 50 kgs goes for around 500.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's quite affordable. But when you buy, since it's a soil additive, you spread the whole farm. Yene kwa shamba yote, because it's not a fertilizer that needs to be fed on by the roots. What you're doing is conditioning the soil, ameliorating the soil.
Setting the right pH. Good.
Whereby now at the correct pH, the roots are able to get the nutrients. And also now at that level, we have also now the roots are able to, you see, when you have acidity, it's like nikupikia nyama tamu sana. Very nice fried meat, but I do just one blender. Niongeze chumvi.
Chumvi mingi. Weke chumvi mingi.
So you're not be able to
right.
eat,
Okay.
So the food might be there and locked, but because of those high levels of acidity, the roots are not able to access. And
good.
See the nutrition part when it's affected, the crop doesn't give you.
Good. What a great conversation we are having there with Mr. Jim Nyaga. And we're just getting started on this conversation. Remember, the agenda is to make sure that you are getting it right as you step into coffee farming. Now, we are not yet done with that conversation because after this break that we are taking right now, we'll come back to learn a lot more about why it's very important to make sure that your holes are square, and also what is curing and why is it very important for you to make sure that curing is happening in your holes. We do want to make sure that our coffee farmers are doing the right thing from the very beginning. Remember, Kenya's Gold is where we educate you about everything that you need to know about all matters agriculture. See you after this break with a lot more on coffee farming in Kenya. All right, so turudi hapa kwa shimo yetu mali tulitoa our temporary, our peg. So tumetoa sasa.
Yeah, so if we have a peg, the variety that we are going to plant is SL.
Tunachimba kwanza?
Tuna peg.
So spacing ya kutoka bush moja to the next in
now, it depends with the variety.
Kulima, wewe ndo unatusupplyia vitu hapa.
This is SL34. Make farmers to be sure where you get your seedling. When you look at this potting media, it comes from Calro, under which Coffee Research Institute works. Kindly make sure for all the farmers that you get seeds from a certified source. Because if something happens to this, you're able to get reference.
Uko na warranty?
Yes, become a warranty.
Okay.
Then the correct height should be around 30 to 40, and we should have at least 2 sets of true leaves.
2 sets. Set ya kwanza ni gani?
Ya kwanza ni hii.
Gani?
Hii. These two. Then there is these two. No. Now this would be the future branches.
Oh, so set 1,
One, set 2,
set 2.
then at least 2 branches.
Okay.
Yes. When you place this one and plant, it gives you guarantee that there will be takeoff.
All right.
There is something we call shoot-root ratio. So the more it elongates here, the more the roots are going to. So the roots growth and development determines how much it's going to grow in future.
Right.
That's why unapata mtu amepanda kahawa imekaa miaka 2 bado haijafanya nini? Haijampatia mazao because of the stunted growth.
Right.
Yeah.
Na nikienda ninunue my seedlings from a certified place. Nimeenda tuseme ninunue leo. How soon should I make sure I have planted
The
them?
following day. These ones were bought yesterday,
Right.
and you have to plant. You have to keep them in a cool shade and make sure this is a root ball, it remains intact. Sababu hii ndio chakula ya kwanza that this seedling is going to utilize before the roots develop, then it can be able to get nutrients from the soil.
What will be the challenge of delaying the planting? Nikae pengine nimeiweka huko kwa store siku 2, 3, 4.
2, 3 wiki, what is going to do? The roots are still growing. So there is something we call planting shock. Remember, this has been hardened for some time. So if you just delay, the roots are going to continue developing. By the time you plant it, you will have gone beyond where we can have now proper root development.
Okay, thank you for that. Kwa hivyo sasa hapa next.
You see, we are not planting only one. This will be our point of reference.
Okay.
So, you know, there are 2 activities. One is pegging and the other one is laying out. So there's no way you'll do pegging without laying out. So laying out is when you have one peg and then you're able to get the distance between one coffee tree and the next.
Good.
We have 2 distances. There is a distance between one coffee tree and another one. We call it intra-row spacing. And there is a distance between one row of
and
coffee
another row.
and the next row of coffee, which we call inter-row. So we have
So intra-row, inter-row.
Inter-row, yeah.
So inter-row, yeah, from one row to the next. Inafaa kwa spacing ya?
For this SL, it is supposed to be 9 feet. So we are going to measure 9 feet.
Okay. What are we using to measure that tape measure?
Tape measure.
Aya, mkulima wangu?
So 9 feet. You hold it for me.
Yes.
That part.
Nishike wapi mimi?
Wewe utashika hapa. Make sure
Oh,
it
hapa.
touches, the part touches hapa.
Aya, and then I have another question. Ni tu kutoka kwa mti ama si unakumbuka tuko na hiyo spacing ya shimo, mali shimo inaanzia ama mali mti iko?
Mti iko.
Okay.
Remember now, we are assuming that is a coffee tree.
Yes.
So from one coffee tree in that row and another coffee tree here should be 9 feet. 2.74 meters.
Hapo mali uko sasa ni our next 9, ni hiyo 9 feet.
Our next row will be here.
Mkulima ambaye hatazingatia hiyo spacing atapata challenge gani?
Space becomes so close. There is a situation we call interlocking, whereby primaries za hii mti zinaenda kusumbua
Wa hii ingine.
Right. If the space becomes too big, then you have not utilized
your land well.
So what it means, you have fewer coffee trees in your piece of land. Remember, you want to maximize and have more production.
Kwa hivyo hapo ndio tunaweka our next
peg. When you drive it,
unafinyilia mpaka iende kabisa. Kwa eka moja, pengine uko na eka moja, how many trees can you fit for SL?
For SL, they are around 540.
In 1 acre. Okay.
The spacing is 9 by 9 square. But in most ideal situations, we don't have this kind of scenario. What we find is that the trees are not in the same alignment. Remember, our land here is flat. But where we have slope, we need to do it along contour. Therefore, that one requires a specialized tool we call leveling voltage, whereby you are going to hit all the points. And that one is your baseline.
Right.
So, you're supposed from the baseline, mama hapa, a row is very straight. Ukisimama hapa, you look at this row. Straight.
Very straight.
Ukisimama hapa, very straight.
Right.
So you need to have one point of reference.
Yes. Okay.
That's intra-row.
Intra-row?
Intra-row.
Is how many feet from?
For SL, it's again 9 feet.
Oh, so it's a square.
It's a square.
Okay. Okay.
So we can also have the diagonal so that we
Oh, we've maliza there. So intra-row, now we do the inter-row. So this is from one row to the next. This is from one upper intra na inter. Good. So tell me, when is the best time for a farmer to start the planting of coffee?
If a farmer wants to plant coffee in short rains, which are expected around October, you have to work 4 months back. As early as now, farmer should start digging of the holes.
Right.
So that the holes can stay open in the month of July. And then in September, you have to come and do something called backfilling. Back the hole. Why we leave the holes open? So that there is a process called curing. Tunataka hiyo shimo yote jua vizuri, ipasuke pasuke. If there are anything that is soil-borne, fungus or anything, you know when the hole is open, there is no alternate host. So yule mkulima atakuwa amemaliza mashida mengi sana. At least 2 months for curing.
Right.
1 month you backfill. And when you backfill, because you are going to see it, you just bring back the peg so that it will guide you where when you bring your seedling it will fall. Yeah. And you have to make sure that the seedlings are in a straight line.
Okay.
Yes.
So umepeana advice ya kwa ule ambaye anataka kupanda na the short trees. Kuna wao wanataka kupanda na mvua ya March.
Yeah, March. Then you work backwards.
Right.
So it's February, March. So you have February and
January
and December.
December.
Anafaa kuwa
Chamber, curing.
backfilling.
Okay.
That the moment rain falls, after 2 weeks, you know that time, half of the soil surface, like 30 centimeters.
Good.
But if you plant when it is not wet, then you have to keep on.
Na kuna ule mwenye apandi, yeye sasa ana top work. Anataka kugeuza kutoka SL, anataka kwenda RV11. So huyo anafaa kufanya hiyo kazi ya process wakati upi?
Okay, again it's a process. After crop imemalizika. Remember in Kenya I told you we have 2 pairs. So if your main crop gets finished in December, you start main pruning. As you prune, pale chini kwa suckers, hapa chini mali suckers zinatokea, you just make sure you have cleaned so that you have new suckers coming up.
Right.
So the suckers will come up with rains in March if rains come in time.
Right.
Now let the suckers grow up to a thickness of a pencil. So that is the best time
For you to graft.
which is around June.
We are done with our pegging, sindio?
So next is digging of the holes.
Na umesema tunachimba 2
2
feet. Okay.
Na
Mkulima
square,
alete
katikati
jembe.
around,
Ikuwe ya square.
square around.
All right.
Yeah, because
Thank you.
So the top soil, which has a lot of humus, tutaiweka kando.
Okay.
So we have to see.
Square yetu.
Not yet.
Not yet. Inafaa kukua hii ikuwe the same level
with the ground.
Right.
Yeah, so
Tuendelee.
now we have that is topsoil. Kidogo.
Okay.
The first 30 centimeters. So now we dig from the other direction now.
Huku sasa. To change side. Yes. So now hii ya topsoil tusimix na hii.
Hakuna kumix.
So hii ikae hivyo. Kwa nini tusimix?
Because it has humus. We need it to go in fast.
Oh.
That's that. When the roots develop, they find soil that has humus.
Na mtu anafanya 500 and ngapi kwa wani? Naweza kula kawa zangu ka fruits at this point.
Those who know it, they can do like around 20 per day.
Okay.
But this is a quick work thing.
Ufanye hii process kama kumenyeshanisha kadogo so that your ground is softer. Because
it has to be dry.
Na hizi roots ambazo zinatoka huku, these are for weeds. Ama ni?
They are from coffee, others are from the
Oh, na hivi venye tunafanya, we are not harming the roots for the other coffee?
We are doing that, but we are fine.
Okay. Tupime? We are almost. Hey, almost.
Yeah.
Sindio?
Yeah.
Hey.
So we remove this soil.
To try here.
Our hole is.
We are good.
Yeah.
So now we've achieved our square.
Yeah.
Two. Two. Two.
Yeah.
Two.
Correct.
And two. And two.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what it's supposed to be. So nitaishape kidogo.
Nipatiwe kafiga. So after we've achieved our hole,
Yes.
what is the next step?
It should remain that way for
2 months. Hiyo ndo umesema ni curing process.
curing and withering.
Kwa hivyo nisikuja hapa after 1 month nimeweka seedling yangu. What will be the future repercussions of that?
Coffee is a perennial crop. Like, I think this coffee you can see here was planted in 1950s. So if anything happens in the soil, because you hurried, then there will be a problem.
All right. So we leave it like this for 2 months.
Fungus, any soil-borne problems. We have nematodes. We also have Kenya mealybug. Wote wako kwa udongo.
Right. So now, because we're not going to necessarily plant now kwa sababu hii tunaacha for 2 months. Mkulima ameelewa, after shimo we wait for 2 months. So tunataka to fast forward, 2 months imefika. Tunapanda aje so that the farmer who's watching ashikanishe hizo steps.
Great. So as you can see, we have our subsoil and our topsoil.
Right.
You pick a debe of manure, 20 kgs.
Kwa hivyo kwa kila shimo uneka
Debe,
1 debe of manure.
20 kgs.
Right.
Yes.
Kwa kila
But there's a way
shimo.
we do it, which I want to demonstrate.
Okay. Alete debe. Hii ni manure. If you look at this manure, our agronomy is it imeheal vizuri, imeiva vizuri?
Not yet, because as you can see, we can see still it has some droppings from goats. But the good thing with it is the mixability. You can mix.
Yes.
If we pour it here, it should be very easy to mix with the soil.
Okay.
Because that's what you are going to do.
All right.
But ideally, it should be well composted. For me to know this one, I need to have a bucket. No, half of this will come to the topsoil. Now, because of the hill, tunaanza kuchanganya.
Kuchanganyia hapa. Okay.
So we mix thoroughly. The other half will come here.
In the other soil, subsoil. Okay.
So after mixing, our subsoil is what will come first.
So we put this first.
Topsoil.
Topsoil
What will come
first. Okay.
Before we do that, since our soil, we have not taken any analysis, we have like 50 grams of agricultural life.
Okay.
50 grams.
Okay.
And for us to do this, we need to have a small container. So this one has already been done. It's 100 grams.
Okay.
So
Indo agricultural lime.
yes, it's white in color. The best name is dolomitic.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Alafu
Very rich in
tuweke wapi?
magnesium. So again, half will go here.
And then the other on the subsoil.
So,
lakini kama tungekuwa tumepima mchanga, hii ni kitu tunge spread tu kwa shamba
We
yote.
spread kwa shamba, or we plant without, or we know how much we need to plant with.
All right.
Choose the pH level from the analysis. dictates how much of this you have to apply.
And do you do the lime before the digging of holes or after?
After digging of the
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So the other half will come here.
We're done. So you said the top side.
Comes in back.
Right.
And the reason is when they develop, they'll go downwards.
Right.
So they'll be able to get
Kuna manure vizuri.
other than when it is on top.
Right.
Because roots will never grow up.
They go down. Good. And just before we fill, kwa nini ulisema mkulima hakikishe shimo yake si round, iko square?
For a round hole, there is that tendency of root coiling. Coiling based on the wall of the
Hole.
interfere with nutritional habit.
Okay.
But if you are square heavy and with a flat surface, the roots will be able to penetrate as they develop.
Good. All right. So can I put... Okay.
Just let it go. All of it. Do you know where the middle is?
Do I know where what?
The middle of the hole is?
Here.
Yes,
Ah,
right there.
yes.
So now that process is what we call backfilling. It should take place after.
2 months. Right. And then?
Now planting process.
Okay. Tuchukue seedling yetu. Tunapanda hapa ni SL?
SL34.
Okay.
So what you do, you make a small hole.
Thank you. I'm very sure for everyone who's watching right now and is a coffee farmer, umechukua note, unajikosoa mahali ambapo umekuwa ukifanya vitu vibaya, and the whole agenda is to make sure that you are doing it right in the farm so that you get the best cherries. Kumbuka, kahawa ni kilo. The more kilos you have, the more money you have, and that's why we want you right here at Kenya's Gold to get it absolutely right. Now at this particular moment, I do want to speak to our farmers, giving you tips on what you need to do to make sure that you are growing in the different agri sectors that you are in. Please, farmer, make sure that you are part of a cooperative society. Join hands with other farmers, and remember, you only need to be about 10 members to form a cooperative society. In your society, you do stand a higher chance of getting financial support from various financial institutions like the Cooperative Bank. Also, you get professional agronomists. Mwana agronomist wetu pale kwa feature anakufundisha jinsi ya kupanda kahawa. When you are in a society, you get more of that, guiding you on the right steps on whichever agri sector that you are in. And also remember, at the end of the day, kwa sababu mko wakulima wengi, you aggregate more produce, high quality produce. Therefore, you do have a higher negotiating power in the market. Very many farmers complain of market structures, but remember, when you are many farmers all together, you get to serve a bigger audience and you have quality produce. So dear farmer, take advantage of the support that is being offered by the Cooperative Bank. Now it's time for us to take our second break, but we come back with a lot more as we wind up our learnings on growing coffee. How deep is this hole that you just made?
It has to be where we call this root ball. Where the root ball is going to
Fit.
right? So we need to have a stick. it has to be the same level with the ground. We do this to avoid something called deep planting. Kama vile tunapanda mandizi. For coffee, if you do that, there will be stunted growth.
If you deep plant. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because nutritionally, again, the roots will not come up. So they'll have limited nutrients. So a seedling like this, we should take like 2 years to attain a height of about 1 meter plus. We will be stagnated there due to stunted growth.
All right.
So we have fertilizer. There was a measure for fertilizer. You are supposed to use 2 types. We have triphosphate or single superphosphate, TSP and SSP. Although DAP is not highly recommended, for planting we can use it.
You can use DAP.
DAP. Why? Because we need phosphorus for roots. So on this case we use DAP, but if a farmer can get TSP or SSP, superphosphate
or
single superphosphate, SSP
or
TSP.
TSP.
Yes.
All right.
For SSP, that one is a straight fertilizer. The farmer needs only 100 grams. For triphosphate, the farmer needs 200 grams more.
And for DAP?
For DAP, 100.
Right.
So it goes into the small hole that we had done. Then for this seedling to come in, we need to have a panga. We cut here. The reason of cutting, so that if we have any roots that have coiled, kama hizi, zinafunguka.
All right. Zinaweza kuwa zimecoil kwa kiwa ndani hiyo karatasi.
Based on the time that the seedling has taken in the nursery.
Okay.
So the roots hit the hard ground and then start coming upwards.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have to stop that one. Yeah, we have to make sure the root ball does not go. So kidogo tushike hivi.
Tusitoe hiyo mchanga.
Isitoke. And then we place our seedling there. Lazima ikuwe perpendicular.
Straight up.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we bury kidogo tu. Without burying the wooden part of the stem. And now there our seedling amekaa.
Nice. And we are done.
We are done.
Tumepanda hii.
Tumepanda.
Okay.
The next thing we need to do, kumbuka mti wetu ni mchanga, so lazima tuweke mulch. And you have to make sure mulch does not touch the stem. So tunawekelea kando kando.
Ukirokota hii mulch, other things you need to look out for, because pengine kama hii mulch iko na wadudu.
Iko na wadudu, and that's why we are saying isiguse nini?
Isiguze. So munajua iko na wadudu.
Inaweza kuwa.
Okay.
Kuna uwezekano.
I was so confused. Nimefanya kazi yote alafu wadudu wakuje. Kwa hivyo isiguze stem yetu.
Our seedling is young and it needs some little bit of water.
Okay.
Near watering can.
I'm seeing you watering around.
Yes, around.
Kuja hapo mwage maji in the middle on the
and we should not overwater. We don't want water logging.
Okay.
Condition.
All right.
Such that after umetoa, the soil has already taken water. We are done.
We are done. So now we have planted our SL34 seedling. Huyu mkulima ataanza kuona flowering na hata cherry ya kwanza after how long?
18 months. But we discourage that one. So akiona flowering, remove them. Akiona berries, remove them.
Within 18 months. So why?
Because
na hiyo ndo nangoja.
You're looking at the future. If the seedling flowers at that young age, much of the energy will be directed to feeding the berries at the expense of it going vegetative,
growing
and giving you enough bearing wood. So ni sawa utakula
kakitu, lakini future
baki ukikula tu kakitu
badala ya kukula sana. So you're 18 months nisishikwe na tamaa nitoe. But now after the 18 months, the flowers and the cherries that come,
kila kitu, you'll have more yields than when you just decide to harvest when it's young.
So as we wrap up this very nice practical, tell me, at what point will wale magonjwa, pests and diseases will start attacking my coffee?
Okay, for a cell, as early as after 3-4 months, you need to spray copper, a fungicide, because leaf rust ndio hiyo.
So inakuja as early as 4 months.
Yes. Even in nursery, some are affected, and that's why you can see there are some droplets of fungicide here. This is copper.
All right.
So other than that, and other maybe pests that like cutworms that can come in, it is as safe as it is. But make sure every time there's nothing. Hata akikuwa mkubwa namna gani, 10 centimeters,
nothing. All right.
So vile anakuwa ndivyo magonjwa na mashida
yanaongezeka.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that. As we wrap up, please speak to the young people. Kuna mtu amesikia sahi kahawa ndio kusema, and wako hapo, niingie nisiingie, nifanye nisifanye, iko na pesa haina. What can you tell that one person who's just waiting for that ignition? Yes.
And people who want to venture into coffee, nawaambia karibuni, don't fear. As we can see, the things in coffee world and space are coming up nicely, and there are good returns in coffee. From agronomy part of coffee, we have seen that it utilizes like half or less than half of what it brings on table. So if you get 100,000 from coffee, just take 20,000, 30,000, give it back to coffee, and then the profits are yours. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so very much, Mr. Jim, for having us here. Umesema hii region inaitwa ni Kiambu, but kuna kajina ulipeana. Gathage Village.
Yes,
thank you so much for having us and teaching us so much about growing coffee. Sasa ndo watu wanakimbililia kahawa. We want to make sure that they are getting it right from the very beginning, and you have done that. And of course, lazima pia nishukuru mkulima wangu. Huyu ndo amefanya kazi. Thank you so much kwa kutusaidia na hii process, na pia kutukubalisha tukuje kwa hii area yenyu tusome mambo ya kahawa. Unaambia vijana nini? Wapande kahawa?
Vijana hapandeni kahawa kabisa.
Very nice. Thank you so much. Good. It has a lot of money. Na najua ukisikia pesa unachangamka. Hiyo pesa iko kwa kahawa. Thank you so much for watching our feature all the way from Kiambu County. But do keep it Kenya's Gold. Everything you need to know about coffee farming will be addressed right here on the program. With that, we have come to the end of the program. The agenda today was to learn so much on how to start off in coffee farming. Remember, a lot of farmers are going back to coffee farming, and we also have new entries in the coffee scene. Therefore, we took it upon ourselves to make sure that as you start off your coffee farm, you are getting it correctly. Remember, coffee is a perennial crop. If you mess up at the very beginning, you're going to mess up until the very end. A very big thanks to our agronomist, Mr. Jim Nyaga, for taking us through the entire process. And of course, the team that is working on this production, we say a very big thanks. And finally, our viewers for choosing to be with us every single day of the week. We don't take that for granted, and we say a very big thanks. From us here at Kenya's Gold is to wish you all the very best as you start off your coffee farms here in Kenya. Thank you so very much for watching. It has been an absolute pleasure coming through to you from Idaho State in the United States of America. This is the leading producer of potatoes here in the United States. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Violetta Ngina.
Kenya's Gold.